This one proves that because you were saying that this Quran you have today is from Muhammad's times, ruled to Muhammad. Show me a proof that this Quran you have today was ruled to Muhammad. This is Qur'an, right? They should all be the same.
Variation of Qur'an.
But meanings, does it change the meaning? I can show you one right now. Because I said to you, show me a contradiction where the message of Christianity has changed. The crucifixion, the resurrection, Jesus Christ being the Son of God. Show me these contradictions and I can give my shahada to you.
I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. There's just way too many contradictions for me. I'm not coming
what contradiction?
I'm not coming from a Muslim perspective. There's way too many.
But can you show me a contradiction?
Way too many contradicting statements and verses from the Bible.
Like what?
There's
like what?
Too many denominations from me personally.
But what were the Muslims? Do you know denominations like Shia, Sunni, Salafi?
No, I can literally. Well, I'm a Sunni.
But what school of thought? What school of thought is right? The Ash'aris, the Hanafis, the Maliki.
Let me just quickly finish my statement. If I could just make a very quick Google search, and you'll see very varying different statements contradicting each other.
I can do that with the Quran as well.
No, what's that? Prove it to me.
Yeah, but just because.
Okay. You said in the Quran. I can easily prove it to you.
Yeah. But if you Google search something, doesn't mean it's true, does it? I can Google search contradiction in the Quran, doesn't mean it's true.
That's literally evidence.
Okay, give me a contradiction about the Bible then.
No.
Give me a contradiction.
You said there's contradictions in the Quran.
Yeah.
Now you.
In fact, I wrote them down. In fact, I'll write them down. Yeah. I've Googled. I can Google. I've wrote down the yeah.
And by the way, I'm not coming from a Muslim perspective. I'm a Muslim myself.
So
I'm not attacking Christianity.
First of all, okay. Your claim first was that if you Google things, you can find contradictions about Christianity. If I Google things about the Quran, I can find contradictions as well. Doesn't mean it's true. Google. Why are you trusting Google?
I'm more than happy to discuss Islam. As long as you're able to, actually, from a non-biased perspective, discuss Christianity.
Okay.
I know you obviously you got.
But can I say something?
You got a motive.
Can you please give me a contradiction? Give me a contradiction from the Bible.
You have to know. You made a statement.
I will.
There's contradictions in the Quran.
Yeah.
You have to now prove it.
Okay, I will. Okay, so first of all, right, let me make my point, because I'll let you speak. You first of all said there's contradictions in the Bible. If we Google it, we can find it. And I said to you, likewise, just because Google said, just because Google said it doesn't mean it's true. You have to look into it. And I said to you, if I Google contradictions, let me explain, brother. If I Google contradictions in the Quran, they will come up. Doesn't mean it's true. People can write all sorts of things in Google. Doesn't mean it's true.
Not really.
You know what I mean? But I can give you contradiction. I can give you contradiction in the Quran. So your Quran is telling the basically.
You said verses, by the way.
Yeah. So
yeah.
So the Quran. That's what I'm saying. So the Quran is telling the Jews and Christians, right, to follow the Torah and the Injil, right?
Before you ask the question.
So it's telling Allah. It's telling the
contextual reference.
Yeah, let me say. So it's Surah 547 or Surah 2, like Surah Baqarah, Surah 3 verse 3. So it's telling the Jews and Christians to stand by the Torah and the Injil, right? Then again,
Is that word for word stand
I'm paraphrasing it. I'm paraphrasing. Oh, let me get the verse up then. Let me get the. Okay.
Word by word.
So the Quran claims that the word.
I don't want any paraphrasing. I want word for word, because I can paraphrase as much as I want. I want clear, solid evidence. There's contradiction, and if you can't provide that, then I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, for example, in Surah 3, right? In Surah 3, verse 3, Allah says, "It is He who has sent down the book to you with truth, confirming which came before it, and He sent down the Torah and the Injil." This is in Surah 3 verse 3. So Allah saying that He sent the Injil and Torah, right? And then in Surah 5 verse 47, it says, "Let the people of the gospel, let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah has revealed therein." So Allah is confirming the Torah and the Injil. The Torah shows that God. So let me make a point. Let me make a point. Then you can speak. Allah is confirming in the Torah. The Torah says that God is a Trinity, that God is more than one person.
No,
but okay, I'll get to you. But Allah Himself says in Surah Ikhlas that He is one. That He's just one person. He's just one. That's a contradiction.
That doesn't confirm the Trinity. You said there's contradiction.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Surah. What was it?
So in Surah, let me make one point again.
You said He is one. How does that confirm?
Okay. The contradiction is, if Allah is really one, why is He confirming a book where it shows that God is a Trinity, that God is more than one person.
Where did it say God is a Trinity?
It says God is more than one person. In the Torah,
Previous version,
Yeah, in the-
Torah never mentioned God as a tree.
Can I show you?
Can I show you? There's been many changes to translation.
Can I show you?
If I watch you do it, I step around it.
There was a tree.
Yeah,
You do.
but no, I don't have
Here.
to.
You haven't felt what it's like to
Yeah,
get your
this is
freedom
the
taken
Torah.
away from you and not to your family.
It
You
says
don't
in
know.
Genesis
You don't understand.
19:24,
You
then the
don't.
Lord
Have you been
rained
taken
on
from your
Sodom
family?
and Gomorrah
Have you not seen
sulfur and fire from the Lord out of heaven. It shows there's two lords
Second-hand experience, you can
back in the Old
understand
Testament.
it, but you can't understand it from a place of.
Then the Lord rained on Sodom and Gomorrah sulfur and fire from the Lord out of heaven. There's one Lord in
Just
heaven,
like-
one Lord on
Just like
earth.
you need to experience the grace of God in your heart to understand it.
Within the
You
Quran.
do.
You're trying to.
Is that not a contradiction?
Anyway, brother, I love
Do
you.
a secondary reference point outside
It's still,
the Quran.
it shows the Quran. It shows the Quran's contradictory.
You find contradictions within the Quran.
Yeah, that's
You're
the-
trying to find secondary
You
sources.
didn't hear what I said. I said if I Google things, I can find things. Doesn't mean it's true.
You're misconstruing things
But
on purpose.
no,
You're
you're not liking the answer because I showed
You
you.
said you find contradictions within the Quran.
In Google, no, because you said about Google. I said if I go on Google, I can find contradiction. Doesn't mean it's true. That's what I said.
Your previous point, I respected it. I was like, you know what? From your point of view, just from the reference point you used, absolutely you're correct. But you, just as
This is a contradiction.
No. You said
This is a contradiction.
You said you find a contradiction.
Yeah, and it is a contradiction.
Within the Quran.
Yeah.
You went. Sorry. Yeah. You went outside of the Quran.
But don't we need to look at? Don't we need to find?
You have to substantiate your evidence.
Don't we need to find out about Allah outside of the Quran as well?
There's a contradiction.
How many versions of the Quran are there?
There's many of them. One minute.
He's an-
So this is the thing.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I said it based on Google. Based on Google.
You're misconstruing the point. You said you'd find a contradiction within the
Brother,
Quran.
brother,
Let
you need to
me speak.
come talk to him. You need to speak to him.
Two contradictions.
But can you? Okay.
Just find me two
Explain this. Explain this.
Just find me two contradictions tables within the Quran.
In the Quran.
Yeah, within the Quran, the contradictions.
Okay.
I can find you many.
Yeah.
I can literally
So-
go to Google search right now.
This is the contradiction. Okay. I'll explain. Okay. In the Quran.
And that's your point. But
Okay.
I didn't make that.
I'll give you another contradiction. I'll give you another contradiction. In Surah 2, I believe Surah 292, it talks about the people corrupting the Torah and the Injil. But then again, in Surah 547, Surah 3 verse 3, Allah is confirming the Injil and Torah. That's a contradiction. Why is God confirming a corrupted book?
That's not a contradiction.
Is that not a contradiction?
That's not a contradiction.
At one hand, God is saying it's corrupted. At one hand, He's confirming it.
Why myself and about
Why
an
is
hour?
there a Quran? Why do you think there's a last?
Wait, can you speak louder? Can you speak louder?
Why is there a Quran? For there to be a Quran, the previous scriptures must have been, changed.
So where are they? Where are the
Must
previous
be changed
scriptures?
and altered.
Where are they?
That's the main purpose of the Quran.
but where are
It's
they?
to solve everything, and it's inimitable. Right?
Where are they? No, where's the
You
previous
can't
scriptures?
change it, unalterable and inimitable.
Okay.
It hasn't been
Are you sure about
changed.
that?
It hasn't been. Yeah,
Can you give me evidence, any manuscripts dating, full manuscripts from Muhammad's time?
One second. You're going in from.
Give me manuscripts from Muhammad's time, because you made a liar.
One second.
You made a liar. You said the Quran isn't changed, but the Quran has been changed. You don't have Muhammad's Quran. You have Uthman's
You're
Quran.
doing the red herring right now.
How-
You still haven't proved the point.
I proved the point. I proved the point. You're running away. You're running away.
You're the one that's doing the red herring.
I've given you the argument. I've given you the point. I've given the explanation.
No, I'm being as honest as I can, right? You said you'd find two contradictions.
I've given you two contradictions. In one hand, the Quran is confirming the Injil. On one hand, it's saying it's corrupted. Is that not a contradiction?
No.
How's that? Okay.
I'll explain why.
If I say
I'll explain.
if I say the Bible is contradictory and it's not contradictory, is that not a contradiction?
I'll simply explain to you. The main reason for the Quran being coming down as a last scripture is to confirm the previous things in the Torah and the Injil, as you correctly said. But there were things that were altered within the current Injil, the current Old Testament, and the Torah. That's why there needed to be a Quran to obviously solidify things and get rid of altered verses and any misconstruing. That's the main reason.
So why is Allah confirming a corrupted book?
One second.
Why is He confirming a corrupted book?
Just be honest.
No, you're not answering. You're not answering my questions. I've let you speak for like 5 minutes.
No, I'm answering you.
I'll let you speak for. I'm giving you 1 minute. Two time it. Let's time it. Yeah? I'm gonna put a timer.
It's not a debate, it's a discussion.
You don't let me speak. Every time I make a point, you shout. You're like, okay, you speak now. Okay.
You mentioned a statement that
Muhammad never spoke correctly.
but you mentioned that there's contradicting statements in the Quran, and you provided evidence evidence that you have to follow, in the Quran, as I'm paraphrasing, you have to go by the previous Torah and the previous Injil. And then you made another statement saying that obviously you can't go through the Quran and Injil. The main reason as to why the Quran was revealed was to get rid of any misinstruments and solidify God's teaching, which is worship Him and Him alone, right? Pure monotheism, something that Christianity absolutely lacks. So that's
Okay, so my main point I was making about the contradictory argument, right, is that on one hand of the Quran is saying on one hand the Quran is saying that Injil and Torah has been corrupted, right? People have tried to write things or distorted things with their mouths. And on another hand of the Quran is confirming the Injil and the Torah, the previous books. And I find this contradictory. Why? Because
unaltered version.
yeah, I find okay, let me explain. I find this contradictory because it says that they have these books with them in their hands. We know that people in the 6th century have the manuscripts which we have today. So Allah is confirming, not the unaltered version, He's confirming the books what we have today. Let me make a point, Allah. He's confirming the books what we have today. So the question implies, why is Allah confirming a corrupted book? Right? Why is He confirming the Injil and Torah if it's corrupted? And if you say the Injil and Torah has contradictories in, why is Allah confirming the corrupted book? Now, the last point I want to make to you said about Allah's, they had errors in His previous book, they were corrupted. Nowhere in history do we find any errors within the message of Christianity. The message of Christianity. Let me Allah explain. The message of Christianity is this: that Jesus Christ was crucified, He was resurrected, He was God, He was the Son of God, and He rose from the dead. Nowhere in history, from the 1st century to the 6th century, do we find any contradictions within His message. So Allah is confirming His message, which is contradictory, because Allah says that Jesus Christ was never crucified or resurrected. And you also said that the Quran you have today is based on Muhammad's time. Give me proof that the Quran you have today is based on Muhammad's codex, not Uthman's codex. So show me, okay, let me make it easy. Show me the Quran you have today is exactly the Quran we have based on the Muhammad's codexes, not on the Uthmani codexes, but based on the Muhammad codex.
What do you want me to show you? The oldest Quran that we currently have? What kind of proof are you looking for?
Yeah, you can just
What kind of proof are you
just give me.
Are you looking for
You can. Obviously, you don't have the manuscripts now. You
looking the oldest manuscript of the Quran that we currently have now?
give me any tradition, any tradition, manuscripts.
I don't have the oldest scripture.
Yeah, but you can. Do you know what the manuscripts are? You can tell me what these manuscripts are. I might know them.
I don't know. I'm only aware of one manuscript.
Which one's that? Which one? There's the Sana manuscript, the Samarkand manuscript, there's Birmingham manuscript, there's Qazi manuscript, there's the...
What's the difference between them? If you saw
Yeah, so the difference between all of them, so first we have, obviously they're put on in different years. So one came out, so first we had the Birmingham manuscripts, and that's less complete.
And they're all different, and your point is they're all different from each other.
Yeah.
They're all different from each other.
I can tell you why. So they're all different. I mean, yeah. So
That's a fallacy.
when I mean that, how's that a fallacy? So when I'm,
I can do a Google search right now to prove that's wrong.
but you go in Google. Google's not reliable.
See, your friend's saying Google's not reliable. So
It's not, we know that.
yeah. So how are you gonna lie to me?
I can tell you how they differ. I can tell you how they differ.
You don't watch the BBC because it's not reliable.
In the
where are you getting your source? Where are you getting your source from?
Yeah, scholars. We were authorities in these manuscripts. We are looked into these manuscripts.
I'm sorry, you're telling me one thing and you're telling me another thing.
Do you know Dr. Shadi Nasir? Dr. Shadi Nasir.
They're modern.
Let me speak.
Go to Google.
Yeah.
You know Yasser Qadi? He's actually got a really good book based on the manuscripts of the Quran. And even he's talking about the different qira'ats we have, the arus we have, the manuscripts. You have early manuscripts. Some manuscripts have pages that are not complete. Right, like the Birmingham manuscript only has 3 surahs in.
I'm not aware of that.
But the later manuscript, like the Qazi, the standard manuscript, they have more surahs in.
I'm not aware of
So
that.
they all differ.
Google search.
You can do gift search.
Okay, sure.
But also there's
There's
text.
missing pages within certain manuscripts.
No,
Islam.
it's-
No. That's what you
Listen,
mentioned.
there's straw man. You're straw manning me. I said there's
Your friend said there's missing pages in the Quran.
incomplete surahs. Because I think so some manuscripts have not got everything inside. Whereas you have other manuscripts, like the standard manuscript or the Qazi manuscript, they have all the surahs in, many of the surahs in. But even scholars within Islam, like Al-Baqalani, he was a modern day Islamic scholar. Ibn Dawood in the Mustaf.
Incomplete surahs in the Quran.
Did you hear what he said?
No. Every surah is complete as revealed to Prophet Muhammad and has been preserved in its entirety.
No, manuscripts. I'm talking about manuscripts. I'm not the manuscripts. So the Birmingham manuscript only has 3 surahs in. And you're using ChatGPT, man. ChatGPT is alright.
Use Google.
Alright, type in how many surahs the Birmingham
ChatGPT
manuscript
is much faster.
Yeah, type in how many surahs the Birmingham manuscript have. The Birmingham manuscript only has 3 surahs in, or 2 to 3 surahs in. It's not complete. That's the earliest manuscript you have.
When Jesus said to a woman, "You have great faith, and your request is granted," and the daughter was healed.
nodding your head.
So you healed her.
Right, okay, yeah. Early Quranic manuscripts sometimes show variation in spelling.
No, I'm talking about Birmingham manuscript.
Yeah, I've put Birmingham manuscript.
Yeah. And so how many surahs are mentioned in the Birmingham
But what's
manuscript?
your point? What
Yeah,
you're
so
trying to get at?
my
What's your
point, that's what I'm saying. You say how did they differ? I said the manuscript, I'm not saying the Quran, I'm saying the manuscripts of the Muhammad's Codex or the Uthmani Codex.
What do you define as, there's differences in definitions.
Okay, so when
For a manuscript, what do you define as a manuscript?
yeah,
Because
a manuscript is a codex. The codex, or they're written in scrolls, leaves, animal skins. And I'm saying to you that how they differ is that in the Birmingham manuscript, you only have 3 surahs in. The Sana manuscript or the Tafkazi manuscript, you have a vast majority of surahs in.
But
So,
we have, hold on. I understand where you're coming from.
yeah.
But those are minor. That's not for the most part. For the most part, you're going off of a few manuscripts. For the most part, most manuscripts have the same verses, no incomplete surahs. So what's
Okay.
your point?
Yeah, my point was.
It's like
okay.
90. It's like
That-
you're
my
only-
point.
you're only pointing
Yeah.
out
No, my point was.
5%.
My point that I made to you
5% or 2%.
was show me the Quran you have today is from Muhammad's time. That's what I wanted to know. From Muhammad's time, from the 6th century.
What's that? Are you talking physically, or are you talking about what?
Like any manuscript traditions, oral traditions.
Why,
Show
why
me.
do you have to go to a manuscript? Why
I just want proof that because you were saying that this Quran you have today is from Muhammad's times, ruled to Muhammad. Show me proof that this Quran you have today was ruled to Muhammad.
we go from oral tradition, right?
Okay,
With the Bible, none of you guys memorize the Bible.
let me get the.
You guys
I can show you. Look, this is
don't memorize the Bible.
Why you put the
this is qira'at, right? They should all be the same.
Variation of qira'at.
But meanings, does it change the meaning?
it doesn't
I can show you.
alter the
I can show you one right now. Let me show you one right now.
If it does, very slightly.
See, now you're changing your point.
No.
You wanna hold it?
No, not really. We're not going. No. It's not the same as the Bible because with
Look.
the Bible is going from Greek. No, it's going from Greek. Sorry.
Let's tell him something very
No.
important about the Quran.
No.
Listen,
What does it say? وَكَئِيٍّ مِّن نَبِيٍّ قَاتَلَ And many prophets fought. And here it says, وَكَئِيٍّ مِّن نَبِيٍّ قُوتِلَ And many prophets was killed. Here it says more prophets was killed. Here it says many prophets fought. There is a text of variance or text of difference in this Quran.
Very slightly. It's not.
Wait, dude, it's not exactly word for word the same thing.
It's not significant enough like the Bible. There's many. You can't compare the level of changes and transliteration.
Has the message of Christianity changed?
Transliterational
Has the,
differences between the Quran and the Bible.
but has the message of Christianity? Has the
Do
message?
you understand that?
But with the New Testament alone, we have around 7,000 verses, and we have 4,999 textual-free variants. So we have
It's not in its original source. The original source was in Aramaic.
Where? No.
And then it went to Aramaic to Greek. And then there was a time when it was illegal for the Greek transliteration to be changed at all. And then it changed to Latin.
Wait, how do you know? Wait,
it's just a translation. I don't see the problem with
but
it.
this is why.
The transliteration changes things a
No,
lot.
but this is what I said to you. Show me where the message of the crucifixion and resurrection has been changed.
Even with them, how can you rely on secondary evidence like Paul, Matthew, John? Those are
Okay,
people that came
can I make a point
after
to you?
Jesus.
Can I make my point? Yeah.
Matthew and
Let me make my point.
Matthew and John were with Jesus.
Both
With Jesus.
they were both Matthew and
Matthew and John were disciples of Jesus. Luke was a follower of Paul, but he took his account.
Paul wasn't. Paul wouldn't.
You're making an internal critique, so you're still going to have to correct it regardless. So
I can say the same for Muhammad. Muhammad never saw the disciples of Jesus. His companions never saw the disciples of Jesus.
That's different.
Paul saw the
Because
disciples of Jesus Christ.
If you're to make a
the same thing.
similar argument, you'd have said the Sahaba and the Prophet. You can't.
But have they seen? Did they see Jesus Christ?
That's a fallacy of false equivalence.
Did they see?
Because
Did they see?
you're
How's that?
trying to say that- No.
Were they with Jesus Christ? Answer the question.
One second. You're trying to say was Muhammad with Jesus
Yes.
Christ? No.
Exactly.
For you to-
Why are you relying on his words? Why are you relying on his words?
For you to make a correct comparison, it would be the Prophet Muhammad and his companions. It's not the Prophet.
No, because you were attacking Paul. You were attacking Paul's like
yeah,
reliability.
yeah.
Paul saw the disciples of Christ. He witnessed everything.
Paul-
Paul witnessed everything. The disciples of Jesus Christ, who were with Jesus Christ
He
himself.
didn't witness Jesus Christ himself.
Yes, he did in the book of
You can't
Acts.
ask someone from the outside.
Paul saw an encounter with
Right
Jesus
in
Christ.
right in front of
No,
you.
Paul had an encounter with Jesus Christ on the road to Damascus. Muhammad said he saw Jesus on the night journey on Hijrah.
According to you, listen.
According to Paul. According to Paul himself.
We can argue all day. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I'm not too versed within the Bible to also have that debate. I don't know too many reference points in the Bible. All I do know, there's just way too many contradictions.
Can you show me a contradiction? I showed you, show me a contradiction, but you're not showing me a contradiction. Because I said to you, show me a contradiction where the message of Christianity has changed. The crucifixion, the resurrection, Jesus Christ being the Son of God. Show me where Jesus Christ, the contradiction about Jesus Christ being God. Show me these contradictions and I can give my shahada to you.
We both know you're not going to give it.
Because you can't give it.
The cameras are on the side. To be fair, I would rather not have this discussion.
Okay, we'll go on the side. We'll go on the side.
I'm going to watch regardless, but you can't just like go on the side. I would much rather have this.
So I said we'll go on the side.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
sure, yeah.